the Welsh will be up for this.
So the Kiwis, that was their first possession. And they turned the ball over. So Wales, they'll be coming out of their line now. Wales now, they've turned the ball over. So that's not going to help their cause. This is going to give the touch blacks here really good field position attacking the Welsh line. It's going to give us our first real chance to have a look at the Kiwis. They didn't offer too much when they had the football down this end of the field, but look at that, just too easy, like a hot knife through butter. They go through the middle, they get the opening touchdown of the match. Too easy there for the Kiwis.
Yeah, and I think, is that Louis, number 3? So he was on in D there, yeah.
So yeah, just open up a little bit too easy for New Zealand, the opening touchdown for their account. And Wales now get us back underway. Ravel's back onto the field. He's got the ball dancing around, loves the alley-oop pass as well. Not afraid to throw it over the top, a little bit unconventional. And great skills for a big man. He's quite tall, quite solid as well, but really agile, isn't he, Gareth Ravel?
Oh yeah, he is. He likes to say that he gets a veiled compliment with it. It's always he's got a good step for a big lad. But I mean, I think he's got a good step anyway.
They fire it out long here, Wales. Now the referees, they might to be calling that one forward, or it could be late. We're not in the greatest position here in the grandstand over on field 1. Well, that almost came out of nothing. We weren't really expecting it. It was just a big looping, well, it wasn't looping, it was a perfect pass out to the right-hand side for the Welsh players. Might have caught the New Zealand defenders a little bit off guard. They were infield and all of a sudden had to go and chase, but the referee pulls them back anyway. And New Zealand, they've got the ball and they're back on the attack now. They're coming into the line, nice sweep work, gets down nice and low. Now the ball just looked like it gripped in the grass. And there might have been a touch made. I'm not sure if they're calling a ball down or a touch. It must have been a touch there. I don't think it would have been a try anyway. Went for the one-handed slide and it fell out regardless there for the New Zealand side.
Yeah, I think it was just a loss of control there. But they've done the same move twice there, the backdoor sweeper.
So Wales, they're going to their sub-box now, so changes on. Trace, he's back onto the field. Just holds it up. He's going to go from half there. Oh, and almost picked off there from New Zealand. We saw the try line down the other end. Would have been interesting to see if it could have gone the full way. It was deep into the touch count there, so they were lucky to get away with that. Wales, they give 6 more touches up.
They'll be happy with that.
Oh, absolutely. So it was a get out of jail card there. Wales back on the attack. Trays gives it back to Ravel, back to Trays. Into half now. Comes right foot. Beautiful ball. Nice little jink as well. Does he get on the outside of the New Zealand defender? No. A little bit of conversation taking place here between the players, the referee. Yeah, the referee's backing up here and blows. Yeah, he's given the touchdown. So I'm not too sure what the confusion was there. I can't actually recall seeing the Welsh player put the ball down. I was looking down away from the play at that time, but I can only imagine that the New Zealand players were caught offside on that instance.
Yeah, I didn't see it either, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, that gets Wales on the board at least, and we are locked up already here. So that's good signs there from the Welsh team. As New Zealand, they come straight back and they hit back, and that's what sets them apart from some of the other teams. They had a little pressure down the other end. Something happened which gave away the first touchdown, but New Zealand, they tap off, they hit straight back, get another touchdown on the board. So Wales will get us back underway here. They tap off at the halfway line. It's Reece Lynch who got us back underway. He's in the 13, moves into half now, Ravel's it back onto the field. Dishes to Trace. Ravel goes away from Trace this time. Lynch. Turn it back on the inside. They're going to throw it away here. Penalty for the touch and pass. I think it might be called from the referee. So they turn the ball over, and New Zealand, they're coming out of their end of the field. So they drive nicely.
Very powerful drive from New Zealand.
Yeah, show their intentions. It's one of the aspects that have been really prevalent at this World Cup, just showing how the really dominant teams come out of their danger end of the field. They transition, and within 4 touches, they're in a place where they might be able to score a try. And they're lucky to get away with that one, New Zealand. I thought it might have been a questionable late pass. The ball's been planted down, and I think it was number 14.
Mark was in a good place to see it. So, yeah, I don't think the Welsh can have any complaints.
So New Zealand skip ahead. It's 3-1 on the scoreboard now. And looking quite ominous, the Kiwis. They're getting out of their end of the field with ease at the moment. And every time they get down to the Welsh try line, they're looking like they're going to score touchdowns. Here goes Trays, the Welsh wizard is what the fans have been calling him. A lot of love for Louis Trays been coming through on the comments, watching the matches. And back at home, they fire that big left to right, and a touch made there on a Sophie Twynham. So New Zealand again, let's watch how they come out of their end of the field. They on the sub-box side, and this is going to help their cause. So Wales trying to put some defensive pressure on the Kiwis there, a little bit too eager, and they give the penalty away. And the Kiwis here back into the middle of the park. We're going to be just going nice and direct. They switch the play up, continue to progress. Moving forward, they turn it back on the inside. Nice quick roll ball. They get phase play here, and look at the ball there. The referees are going to be happy with that one. What a perfect left to right pass. Great touchdown there for the Kiwis. So, Paul, the Netherlands at the World Cup, you've been a part of the women's and men's open side, doing a little bit of assistant coaching. Talk us through how they've found the tournament so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're enjoying it, but we're a very, very small touch nation, and they're finding it very, very tough. This is the first time we've had a women's team here at the Touch World Cup. We've had a men's team in the past, back in 2011, but mostly in Europe it's mixed touch, and so you know, we've sent mixed teams to various Euros and other World Cups. In fact, last World Cup in Coffs Harbour we had a mixed and a senior mixed. But over the last couple of years in Europe, that's a 10-minute hooter, is it?
Yeah, we'll pick that conversation back up once we come back from the quarter-time break. But it's the Kiwis, they're in right control here. 4-1, they go into the quarter-time break. We'll be back with the second quarter very shortly. And we're back with the on-field action on Field 6, mixed open between New Zealand and the Welsh side. And just before the quarter-time break, we were just discussing the development of Netherlands touch and having the first time the Women's Open side have made it their way to the World Cup. It'll be a great experience for them, mates. Obviously, they've had a bit of a tough tournament, but what you can gain from the exposure playing against some of the best sides, you're no doubt going to take that back to the Netherlands and pass that on and try to grow and bring more teams to the next World Cup.
Well, that's the hope. And I mean, one of the reasons for bringing a men's and a women's is so that some of our younger kids who've come up through our juniors over the last couple of years are able to come and participate. So again, I mean, touch is a very small sport in the Netherlands. 10 years ago when I arrived there was basically one proper club in Amsterdam, and now we've got cities, 4 cities with sort of hubs, and we got juniors who've come through and played at the Junior Touch Championships in the Netherlands and in Dublin and in Stirling. So over the last 3 years, and that's grown from a team and some other players filling in on other squads to 2 full squads of juniors, and we're now seeing some of them come through and play in especially our women's team, and they're doing a great job.
That's great to see, particularly with the juniors. That's an important aspect. A lot of the developing nations have started their competitions in adults, and like you said, mixed has been probably the high focus in the Netherlands, but you really got to identify that the juniors and the next crop coming through, that's the crucial aspect to keep the touch going and the sport growing in your country. As Wales cross over, they get one on the board, so they're still hanging in this match here, Wales. They're down by 2 now. That was a nice try straight through the middle of the New Zealand defence. But yeah, I was just making mention of that next generation coming through. That's going to put you guys in good stead if you can get a good crop of juniors to filter into your men's and women's open programs going forward.
Yeah, and I mean it's not just the Netherlands. I mean, I think in the whole of Europe, England's leading the way with their sort of school development and juniors and university. But Wales and Scotland clearly, and Ireland have good junior programs as well. But we're seeing a Belgium, are growing some juniors as well. We've had German teams in there, so it's good.
So the Kiwis back on attack here. Do they hit back? Oh, touch made. Nice touch made as well. Just trying to get underneath there. Look at the footwork here from the Kiwis. Oh, and just getting hands in there. William Smith. So 6 more touches. It's going to put a lot of pressure. And back on their defensive line. Morgan and Puturangi. He has the ball now. He'll move himself into the acting half position. He's one of their strike players for New Zealand. Look at this footwork straight off the right foot. But Prathurch comes in and shuts that play down. They sweep around the back.
Sweeper, yeah.
Yeah, come across.
And then look at that.
Yeah, beautiful play from the Kiwis. So that just shows the agility of this side. They swept around to their left-hand side, come against the grain, throw a massive big left to right pass back out to the right-hand corner, and they finish off nicely. So 5-3 or 5-2, I should say, on scoreboard. New Zealand. I think it's a positive aspect of their play so far. When the Welsh side has scored, they've hit back straight away. We know they can. They've got plenty of attack in their arsenal. And Wales, they're still not going away at the moment in this match. Ravel, he's back on the field. He's got the ball in hand now. Trace, he's sneaking out underneath, goes away from Ravel, comes to the open side, big dummy, but good inside defence from the Kiwis. Shut that play down. So James Enan out there for the Welsh side. Trace tries to get underneath. Touch made again. Come open side, Ravel, he just takes his time, they realign and turns Trays back underneath. Now Trays got the ball. Now, interesting to see what happens here. There's going to be a penalty. I think the New Zealand players are not going forward potentially. It's hard to see what the signal is from the referee. Looks like they might have been going more of in a sideways direction than directly forward. And Ravel still dancing around. They take the touch now. Roll the ball. Ravel again comes back onto the inside, looks to go long, but just can't connect out there. So a little bit of a clunky set there for the Welsh side. They got the penalty, but they couldn't take any advantage of the 6 touches attacking the New Zealand line. So the Kiwis again, now they're just rucking up down that sideline. It gives them the chance to make some changes. They come more direct through the middle. They switch here. Well, they look for that pop pass. They do. They give it back. They're just going to dance in between the Welsh middle defenders. The space in front here. They throw the link ball. Yeah, and they just had them at 6s and 7s, didn't they, in defence. They could have come left. They choose to go right, and it's just open pastures ahead for the New Zealanders. And another touchdown on the board. It's number 6.
Yeah, it's very impressive to watch. I mean, I think the big thing you can see is that New Zealand and Australia are just miles ahead of everyone else. But I think everyone in Europe knows that as well. I mean, Louis is actually across in Sydney at the moment playing touch there to try and strengthen his game. And you know, as you say, there's a fan out there calling him the Welsh Wizard, or maybe even a few of them. But he knows he's got to develop if he wants to compete with the New Zealanders and the Australians.
So do you guys sit back? Well, I suppose with the advancement of technology, there's more touch football games being live streamed like we are right now through the BBC, but having more touch games available to the punters at home to be able to see the high level touch. Have you guys been tuning into some of the games in Australia and New Zealand? Are you taking what you're seeing in those matches back through the Netherlands touch ranks?
Well, we're certainly tuning in, but we have to change it for our player base and the skill level. We don't have the numbers and the players who've been playing for so many years, and therefore the talent. And so we work with players who've maybe never played rugby or touch before in their lives, and they come from hockey or they come from football, and you know, we try and build on that. But I mean, the basic moves, backdoor plays, short plays, quickie plays, we run all those, and yeah, we watch the coverage. It's been really good in Europe. England Touch have been getting some BBC coverage on their NTS series, and the last Euros had a lot of games streamed, and this is great. You know, people have recordings they can look back on and see what they're doing right and doing wrong. It's amazing how well people think they're doing things until they see it in real life.
Yeah, it's a really good point that you make. It's something that was starting to become a bit of a trend as the live streaming of games become more prevalent. A lot of people watch the Australians, the New Zealand, the really high-end players, and then they want to try to replicate what they're doing at an elite level back down at the grassroots. But you really got to focus on the fundamentals of the games first, build as a squad, and then try to get up to that point before you can really go too extreme, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing some, you know, 30-metre left to right passes from sweepers running around, and you know, we've not got players in our squad that can do that, or maybe
not yet.
Yeah,
not yet. Mark my words, 4 times the next World Cup, I reckon there's going to be big things. Look at that link ball there from the Kiwis. And they're doing it pretty easy now. They're racking up a little bit of a score on the Welsh. That's number 7 for the Kiwis, but yeah, no doubt, like you would have taken, or you will take a lot of things home with you after playing at this year's World Cup. Oh,
definitely. And I mean, one of the other things people take is they go and watch the games, and the high-level teams, they do the basics. I mean, you'll see them score through the middle a lot, and they're picking short passes as well. And these are things we can do if players run the right lines. When they see the defender turn in, if they hit their heels, they hit the gap, then they've got as much a chance as anyone to score. It's just the decision making. Obviously, these guys are much better at the decision making under pressure, and there's levels of fitness and athleticism that we don't have.
So New Zealand again, straight back onto the attack. A couple of errors creeping in to the Welsh side at the moment. They're just progressing up the field with ease. Happy to head back out to the right-hand side of the field as well. Again, they're still dancing around. Lynch makes the touch eventually on the Kiwis. Look at this, they turn out and kick out, just create the overlap, but yeah, they don't even need to get that extra pass to the outside wing there of Drummond. And that's Tina Ashworth. The experience of Tina Ashworth scores the touchdown herself. And number 8 on the board for the Kiwis. They're in real control of this match here in the Mixed Open. They go to the halftime break leading 8 touchdowns to 2. And one of the heavyweights of the competition looking good moving into the second half. We'll be back with that second half very shortly. And we are back here in Putrajaya, Field 6 action, Mixed Open between New Zealand and the Welsh side. And it's the Kiwis. They were looking really clinical in that first half, Paul. And what do you reckon from the Welsh side? How are they going to try to stop this just potent attack from the Kiwis? Is there anything that they can do?
Oh, well, it does look tough because, I mean, the New Zealanders are driving so hard and then just, yeah, look, I mean, just running off around them. And I've had to, you know, to watch the Netherlands men's and women's just play against teams that were just physically superior to them, you know, quicker, and you know, just getting down the park, driving down the park, and then you can't get your defensive pattern set up, and you can't close things out. So I don't know. I think the Welsh will be a little bit disappointed with things so far, but they want to get their attack flowing a little bit more. They'll feel that they've got more tries in them. You know, it maybe wasn't a game they could win, but one they feel they should be getting closer to. So let's see what they can do now.
Trey's driving in nicely. He takes off, comes off the right foot. Well covered there in defence. He's got the ball back. He's full of energy. He's Louis Trace. That's a nice ball off the deck, but they try to come back off the grain. They fire it out, and covered in the end. Touch made there from Hotini, and they look to go more direct. But we've got a big game coming up here as well, mate. There's a couple of teams you might have come across through the European Championships. Last game of the day for day 3. It'll be streamed through the BBC. I'm sure there's going to be a big audience watching through the BBC. It's mixed open action again. It's going to be England versus Scotland. You know, we are on the other side of the world, but even we hear about England and Scotland battles where we're from in Australia. But yeah, that's going to be a good match there to finish off day 3 here at the World Cup.
It should be. There were some great games between them in the last Euros. Scotland came on top both times and went on to play Wales in the final, which they won. So Scotland, you know, have been the top team in mixed open since I think 2012. So and of course there's Euros every 2 years. They haven't quite done it at a World Cup, and I know they're sort of been pushing hard to perform at the right level. You know, I don't know what that level is ranking wise, but certainly, you know, they'll be pushing to be certainly the top European nation in this World Cup here. But England have run them close, and England have a huge player base. They've you know, they've really gotten behind touch. They've developed it, as I was saying earlier on. They've got it in the schools, they've got it in the universities, they've got a great NTS, and you know, they've got, I think, more teams than any other nation in Europe at this World Cup, because they've got such a large group. So they'll feel that they're, you know, can be competitive here, and they'll be looking to take this one off Scotland. But I don't think Scotland will give it up lightly. It's the one team that is really focused on in Scotland. Touch isn't huge in Scotland, but the mixed open have been, you know, punching above their weight for a long time.
Yeah, it's good to hear. When the draw would have come out, they would have been scurrying through to see who's playing who. When they would have found out it was England versus Scotland, is that one that both teams just would have put a little circle around? Day 3, last game of the day. Oh, it's getting streamed as well. Might put a little asterisk next to that. Both teams, you reckon they're going to bring it to this last match this afternoon?
Oh, definitely. I think obviously they won't necessarily want to take everything and show it all, but they won't want to lose. So
there's the New Zealand side. They were just looking to shift down that left-hand flank of the field again, but they turned the ball over. So an error for the Kiwis. They haven't really had too many throughout the match. The pace of the game has dropped off just a little bit. The Kiwis are in control. They are controlling this one nicely as Wales. They're really struggling to get out of their end of the field. This is 5th touch, and they're just trying to create flick plays, and I thought they might have been called play on there, but the referee's going to pull them back for a touch and pass. And
that's the difference between Wales and New Zealand. New Zealand are able to drive out of their half and get down here and have an attacking play every single time, and Wales haven't quite got that. And it's the same thing that we, you know, our Netherlands teams have really struggled with, which is, you know, when you're up against a team that's really in your face, getting out of your half, you know, getting the new set on can be quite difficult, but it's really the most important thing.
So New Zealand here, they go for the little trick play, and it pulls off as well. Now just trying to get players underneath, and it looked like Morgan Puttarangi might have spread away from that one. They just popped out where it looked like they were going to drive in for the quickie, and caught the Welsh side at napping, and they are well into double digits now. That's the 11th touchdown for the Kiwis. 2 on the board for Wales. And I think they'll just be trying to stem the bleeding, the Welsh, if possible. But the Kiwis, they're just piling on the touchdowns at the moment. So Ravel gets us back underway. Let's see if Ravel can link up with the Welsh wizard, Louis Trezel. He throws the dummy to him there. He might have been able to get it to him. He was on the outside there of Iford Jones. Here he comes now, gives it back to Ravel on the inside. They try to go the old combination with the no-look flick pass. They couldn't pull that one off. The ball goes to ground. The Kiwis have really taken the pace out of their rucking, but they're still managing to get up the other end of the field. Now you'll notice when the Kiwis are coming into the line that when they drive in, they get to the side of the Welsh players. That gets some nice quick roll balls, and they get into the in-goal area here. They're going to get 6 more touches as well. So while it looks like they're doing it pretty easy as they make their way up to the other end of the field, they don't have to go 100 miles an hour to make ground. If they just be smart with the football and just what they call kicking out as they get near the defence, gets on the outside, a quick roll ball with no one in front of you, and you can get some advantage from that through your dummy half. And they're doing that nicely, the Kiwis, as they're coming out of their end of the field. They've got good field position here, and they're just happy to throw the ball around. Look at that, a little bit ball pass over the top. They're still just jinking around, throwing the ball. They're not really progressing forward. They do so now. They look to take off. They go left to right. Ashworth, quick roll ball. They might have them on the back foot in this corner, and they do. So again, while they're not going at lightning speed, the Kiwis, their ball movement's actually doing all the work for them, and they're not really having to expel much gas out of the tank. And all of a sudden, with the Welsh defence just moving from side to side, eventually it opens up and they score nicely in the corner.
Yeah, it was a nice shot by the Welsh to begin with, and then the Kiwis just got them on the phase play, and the winger just couldn't get back out to cover.
So 12-2 now, New Zealand leading Wales. This is the mixed open division. They've had plenty of games, both teams. They played on day 1. This is day 3 now. 22 teams in total playing in the mixed open division at this year's World Cup. So 2 pools of 11. And if you're in any particular pool, you need to play each team at least once. So they're racking up a lot of games in hot, sticky, humid conditions. Nice switch back on the inside, but touch made. Nice work there from Morgan Puttarangi. So he's putting it on in attack and defence. Just rolls the ball there now. As Sofa Tavita. And drives forward for the Kiwis. McIntyre, he's on the field. He's moving into acting half now. Dishes to Jones. But just goes behind McIntyre there. And they turn the ball over. So again, not too many errors in the game, but one there for the New Zealand side. As Wales, again, struggling to get out of their end of the field. They're just trying to throw the ball around like the Kiwis are, but they just don't seem to get any momentum and progression when they do it like the New Zealand side do. Trays goes the early ball. A little bit of space for them here, but now well covered. Tina Ashworth didn't really have to move too far there. It just comes up and shuts the play down, and they turn the ball over the Wales side.
Yeah, I think one of the other things is that the Welsh, they've got quite a few players who've come through the JTC, the Junior Touch Championships in Europe. So Louis Trays and Kruger Williams and Fionn Hewlett, I think, have all played, up until the last couple of years in their under-18 squads. And so again, touch is not huge in Wales either, so it's great. They've done really well at the junior levels, and it's good to see these players coming up and testing themselves out. But clearly, there is not the same strength and depth there that you get in New Zealand and Australia. But I think it'll come. It's great that we've now got championships where we've got under-18s mixed, under-18s boys and girls, and under-15s mixed and boys and girls. So not quite down to the school levels and things that you've got in Australia, and so people clearly haven't been playing it as long. But yeah, there's more and more of these kids can start to do things that I couldn't even dream of. Yeah, it's
great to see. Even looking across some of the team lists as we hear the third quarter hooter go in the background. Yeah, just before we go to the break, I was just going to make mention of looking across some of the team lists. It's amazing to see that there's still a lot of 15, 16, 17-year-olds playing in the World Cup here this year. So no fear. They have plenty of skill level. They deserve their spot. But playing at a World Cup at such a young age, when they go back to play park level football, they're going to take so much back with them, but when they come back to their next World Cup in 4 years, they're going to be better for the run.
Yeah, and again, you're going to see it in this when you come to the Scotland-England game later on. The Scotland Mixed Open, although it's it's been very successful, it's been successful at bringing in some of the under-18s. So there's a guy called Stuart Burns who was in the Scottish under-18s, the JTC. He's got a bit of a step as well, a bit like Louis Train, maybe not quite that level.
He's not quite at Welsh Wizard level.
Not quite at Welsh Wizard level, but I mean, he's a good little player, and there's quite a few others of those younger ones in the squad who've come through that JTC scene. So yeah, I think it's, again, the more that in Europe they can develop the kids rather than have old rugby players moving to touch, then the better the teams will be for it.
So we'll take a quick break here while the players are grabbing a drink. We'll be back with the final quarter in just a couple of minutes' time. We're back here, field 6, the action's underway, final quarter, and the Touch Blacks looking dominant against Wales in the Mixed Open. And look at this, they're sending the ball, look at that pass out there to the wing to finish off. Just looks so effortless. I wish I could throw a ball like that, just ripped it straight away and just money ball on the chest. Beautiful touchdown from New Zealand.
Yeah, it is very, very impressive. I think, yeah, as I said before, I think the Welsh should be more focused on trying to get a few more scores. They'll be feeling their attack could maybe do a little bit more. Yeah, but when these guys are throwing 30-metre passes to the wing like that, there's not a lot you can do.
So Wales are playing for pride now. They're doing anything that they can to try to get another touchdown on the board. They have 2 at the moment. It might come from this combination from the Welsh Wizard and Ravel. Ravel here coming in half, but that was a nice touch made there from Tomori. He slowed that last play up, but they're still going here. The dummy, and yeah, just goes over the shoulder of Ravel. And off he goes.
Going for a little donut play. Yes, Garrett's gone off. But Louis still on working. Yeah. So I was saying a little bit about the juniors earlier on, and one of the other things is some of the rugby unions are actually starting to see the benefit of touch. So we were talking about Louis Trays, and he's playing in the middle there. He used to play with a tall guy called Kai Devine, who I coached in Singapore at one point in time. But Kai Devine was playing in the JTC with Louis for a number of years, and he's now playing in the Welsh Sevens squad. So a bit like you've the various All Blacks who've come up through touch. We're starting to see some young, I mean they're rugby players as well, but touch players, and those touch skills come in very, very handy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've had plenty of experience with that in Australia. I'm just trying to think which Olympics it was. It must have been Rio when the Sevens.
Oh yes.
Was in the Olympics for the first time. I would probably say 95% of that team were all ex-touch players.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can easily identify where they get their skill level for it. Translates really nicely to the Sevens game. And yeah, the rugby scouts. There might even be some local scouts out here at the World Cup just keeping an eye on some of the players.
Yeah.
So 5th touch here to Wales. They'll have to go a miracle play. No miracle play on that occasion. James Enan just hands the ball back. And Ashworth now just driving to the sideline. This is a little bit more sting in the attack for the Kiwis. They're going to run onto the box here with Takurai. That's back to that danger man, Morgan Puturangi just straightens up. He gets the ball back, turns it back on the inside. Yeah, they're looking impressive in this set. Can look at the footwork and just gets down low. Oh, that's great skill from the Kiwis. It almost looks like they get injured. They're running, and then just bang, they're just down on the ground, straight sliding into the try line.
It's just it's the speed of the drive and the footwork they've got on it. They're just turning people inside out as they go. Yeah.
Must just be nightmares for defenders trying to defend the New Zealand side. They're probably not getting much sleep at night tonight, the Welsh. They might be having flashbacks about trying to defend this Kiwi team, but you just really don't know what they're going to do. They've got absolutely every trick in the bag. On that instance, like, he could have ripped long, he could have gone short. All of a sudden, bit of footwork, just gets down low, goes himself. So hard for a defender to try to work out what you need to do. Yeah,
clearly the defenders want to get in front of them. They want to hold them up a little bit, slow them down, but they're hitting the side of them, and yeah, there's not a lot they can do. They're getting a metre past them, and it's just really, really difficult to get back.
So penalty for the Welsh side. You're going to get 6 more touches. Can they get another touchdown on the board? Ravel is back onto the field. Tian McIntyre making the touch. He's coming up out of the line again here. He's the number 13. Makes another one on Ravel. So McIntyre, he's got the mission on Ravel. Ravel's just taking touches. They perform a little bit of a tango there, dancing back. McIntyre makes the touch. Louis Trays. Oh, nice little pop-out pass. Yeah, that might have been on there. Good setup. They've still got the ball here. No, the referee's moving into a different position. Oh, it's a real shame because there was a beautiful left to right ball on the end. But the Kiwis no doubt knew that the penalty was coming, and a touchdown unfortunately taken off. And we can hear the bagpipes are ringing in the background. The troops, the Scottish, they're really starting to build in the crowd as well.
Well, if you listen, he's playing Bread of Heaven. It's Eddie Sangwan. He's a good friend of Gareth Revel. And Louis Trays. They play together in the Bareback Riders. So I think he might have moved on to other things now. But good effort by him.
So New Zealand again, they're in a strike position on the Welsh. They go long, beautiful ball. They come back against the grain. Touch made, nice touch there. Causes the Kiwis to reset. Look at this, right footwork, gets into the in-goal area, just absolute ease. So it was 5th touch. Coming into the 5th touch, they did a really good job there, the Welsh, to be able to stop the flow. They go back to what we call a dead play, nothing happening. The Welsh defensive line is set. Right foot step, bang, in-goal area, connect, try.
Yeah, and I mean, I really feel for the guys. They maybe could have been a little bit tighter, but they don't want to leave anyone open for the long ball. And the same thing happened, I mean, for our guys against France. 5th play, nothing to play for, and a guy just steps someone and walks it in. And yeah, it's very disappointing for the guys, but sometimes the opposition's just got that little bit more skill, and yeah.
Penalty here to Wales. Clock's winding down. Can they get their 3rd? Big windmill there from Ravel Takurai. He comes up and makes the touch. Got defensive pressure from the outside. Takurai, he gets away. Ravel tries to skip on the outside, tries to take him on. Mace Parsons answers the call.
Just showing that he's still got a bit of pace there, Gareth, you know.
Yeah, it's impressive, particularly at this stage of the game as well, and at this time of the tournament, and day 3, still be able to whip that out. They've got to get a penalty here. Just a little bit of strong contact in there from Day9 Morgan Paturangi. Number 7, he's been one of their best in this match and throughout the tournament. And We had Michael Singh and Corey Russell from the Australian Mixed Open side previously, and Michael made mention of Morgan as one of their strike players, so the Aussies have got eyes on him as well. Ravel again. Back with his old mate Louis Trays. Louis comes against the grain. They roll ball within the 5. They got a rip. Can they get on the outside? The Welsh box were just obstructed by the camera tower.
No,
and
it's a 5.
Touch made. I saw the arms go up from the Welsh sub box. I thought they might have got one. We couldn't quite see. But here go the Kiwis again with Ashworth.
But it was a nice move. They spent a lot of time working, and then eventually, you know, it was a nice ball as well, just a bit unlucky.
So Kiwis just dancing around. They come a little bit more centralised. This has been a focus. They switch players in, a drive in nicely. Jones, short ball. Nice outside in line there as well, but nice quick short ball and another great touchdown for New Zealand.
Yeah, the Kiwis are driving down and trying to keep their plays dynamic. They're not really going static. The Welsh are very, very static on the line. They worked a great play there, and it was unlucky not to score. But I think you see the difference in the teams. The Kiwis are continually moving them, never letting the Welsh defence settle, and then the holes are appearing. Yeah.
So back underway. The Welsh side, they're just going to trudge up the field. Can they get themselves into an attacking position? Really been searching for that third touchdown. Sweeper coming around the back. They go away from him. Trays just hasn't got any support on the inside. Might need to fire that ball straight from half. And a penalty as well. So just a delay of play, not giving the ball back to the mark. Gives the Kiwis one last possession, but they're going to walk straight into shake hands with the Welsh side. But New Zealand far too strong. The runner-up from the 2015 World Cup. They are stamping their claim here in the Mixed Open Division. Paul, thank you very much for joining me in commentary for this game. Great to have you in the box, mate.
Oh, thank you for having me here. I've really enjoyed it. I hope I haven't bored you too much on touching the Netherlands.
Great debut. It's always good to hear the insight from some of our participating countries here at the World Cup. But stay tuned, we revert back to field one. We've got an absolute crackerjack game. As Paul made mention, a couple of old rivals between Scotland and England coming up. Stay tuned through the BBC. We're going to bring you that match very shortly.